Do you think that you are not a leader, influencer, or role model? Do you think that that is only reserved for CEOs, celebrities, social media stars, extraordinary achievers, and outspoken activists? Do you think that it doesn't really matter how you act, what you say, what you do, and what you put out there because you have no real influence, you don't have a great reach of people, and that means that you don't really have an impact? Do you want to make a change in the world, but you give up before you even start because you think you're only one person and what you do won't have an effect on this great big world we live in? Well, you have never been so wrong, my dear one. You are so much more powerful than you think. So get yourself comfortable and let me tell you why. Hey tribe, and welcome to episode number 5 of the MLG podcast. I'm your host, Mandy. Now, first of all, I want to just mention something really important. If you are watching this, it means that you are actively making an effort to grow and develop yourself. And I really want to honor you for that. It is not always an easy road, trust me, I know that, but it is an extremely important and worthy one. So I just want you to know that I'm here cheering you on and that I truly appreciate you, because you are the kind of person who will make this world a better place. Which brings me to today's topic. You are an influencer, and a big one, and you are helping to create the direction that the world is going in with something as simple as a gesture, a sentence, or an example. Now, I want to tell you a few stories from my life to explain to you why I say that. First one. When I was growing up, my mum always treated me in a way that I felt that I was very capable of thinking for myself, and she always encouraged me to find my own truth. Now, I don't mean that she let me decide whether or not I should go to school at 7 years old, or to find out for myself whether a hot plate will really hurt when I touch it. I'm talking more about subjective things like belief systems or certain perceptions of the world. Although she had her own beliefs, she always encouraged me to ask questions and to find my own truth. And if I couldn't, she never forced an answer onto me, but told me that it was okay not to know for certain, and maybe one day some answers will reveal themselves to me. The way she treated me when I was a kid has shaped my life. It had such a massive impact into the person that I am today, and the way that I see the world, and the way that I treat others. Now, tying into this first story is that when she didn't want me to do something or go out somewhere when I was a teenager, she would always sit me down and explain to me why she didn't think that it was a good idea, okay? And if it's something where she knew that it wasn't dangerous or that I couldn't really get hurt, she would still allow me to make the decision whether I wanted to go or not, okay? And if I did go and it turned out to be crappy, then I knew that I could call her anytime and she would come and pick me up, and she wouldn't throw it in my face that I shouldn't have gone, but she would actually help me to integrate and to learn the lesson that I was supposed to learn by doing that. I know, she's awesome. All those lessons that I learned created a lot of confidence in me, because I realized that even if you make a mistake, you recover from it. It's okay, you just change course after. You grab the lesson that you had to learn and you do better in the future. And it also taught me to have patience and empathy with others, because sometimes we have to allow the people around us to make their own mistakes so that they can learn their own lessons in life. Now, another story I want to tell you about my dad is one day I got home with my scorecard. Now, it wasn't bad, I wasn't a terrible student, I was just very, very lazy. And my dad looked at it and very lovingly he said, "That's great, Mandy, you did really well, but I know you could easily do so much better." Now, my dad was a highly intelligent guy, so coming from him, his belief in me that I could so easily do better made me see myself in a different way, and I was like, okay, I could do better if I just put a bit more effort into it. Now, all three of these stories tie into my next story, so just bear with me here. When I was 12, my mom and I moved to Germany. Now, this was one of the hardest times of my life. I felt alone, I felt out of place, and I couldn't speak one word of German. I lie. Except Schweinehund. Now, just to give you a quick insight into the German school system. Okay, so not all kids go to the same school. There are 3 levels of schools, and basically your parents and your teachers decide which one you should go to. Now, for the sake of simplicity, I'm just going to call them level 1, level 2, and level 3 schools. And only if you finish a level 3 school do you graduate with a high school diploma. Now, when I got to Germany, because I couldn't speak the language, I had to go to a level 1 school for at least 6 months before I would be considered into any of the other schools. And unfortunately, the environment there was very harsh and it was filled with quite a few troublemakers. So just to give you an idea, on my first day, a girl came up to me right into my face and she said, "You want to fight, huh?" As in fist fight. I went and hid behind the building for the rest of the break. Now, after a few months of being at that school and starting to learn the language, I went for an interview at the level 3 school in my town. And during that conversation, they advised me to, at the most, shoot for a level 2 school. Because of my language barrier, they said that I would really struggle and that I probably won't make it. Now, I say at the most because usually kids who are in that level 1 school don't make the jump into a higher level school. And it's not because of intelligence or anything like that. Usually, unfortunately, it's because of their environment. Okay, so the ones who start off in a level 1 school usually stay there. Now, at my tender age of 12 years old, I insisted that I wanted to finish my high school diploma and that I wanted to go to that school. And I left the meeting. And later on, my mom came out, and on our drive home, she told me that as I left, one of the members of the school that were in the meeting almost said to themselves, "She'll make her own way." That sentence from a person I barely knew, who didn't even say it to me, had such an effect on me in that moment. It just lit me up, and it is still influencing me to this day. Whenever I start comparing myself to others or I feel insecure because I want to do something differently, that sentence comes to mind for me, and I think it's okay because I always make my own way. By the way, I ended up getting into that school and I graduated. Why am I telling you all these lovely stories, you ask? Well, to show you what a ripple effect one small act can have. Because my mom taught me to think for myself regardless of what others say, and because my dad made me believe that I am good and I can always do better, I insisted on going to the school that I wanted to go to. And because I got into that school, I was gifted with that sentence that is still influencing me today. When I was 16, I heard my now father-in-law say to someone else, "Even if you are a street sweeper, make sure that your street is always the cleanest." After school, I did my trade in aircraft composites. Now, when I started, I barely even knew what the trade is about, and I also didn't know what to do with half the tools that I had to work with. But I kept hearing that sentence in my head, and that kept me just doing my best, aka keeping my street the cleanest. So even if I wasn't inspired by filing down a perfectly 90-degree angle on an aluminium block, that sentence made me want to have the best 90-degree angle aluminium block in class. Now, because of that attitude and what it produced, I became the first female to ever win the Hawker Siddeley Award for Apprentice of the Year. In times when I was overwhelmed by my studies, because I waited until the evening before to start studying, my sister would always come in and sit with me and very calmly tell me, "Mandy, just start on page 1. And to this day, when I'm overwhelmed, that comes to my mind and I just start with step 1. Seeing how kind and respectful my brother is to anyone he meets and how he treats them with dignity and respect no matter who they are, set an example for me of how I wanted to treat others. The way my husband stays super calm in very stressful situations without making a big deal out of it, even if it's a big deal, and how he just focuses on what's in front of him and sorting it out, has taught me that I can skip the drama part when I'm in a stressful situation and I can just go to the part where I look at what I need to do next to sort the problem out. I have many more stories and many more people like that in my life, and I'm sure when you think about that, you also have them or have had them in your life too. The important point I want to make is that these are all ordinary people who have had an extraordinary effect on my life without them even knowing it. I am forever grateful to these people, and any success that I may achieve in my life belongs just as much to them. And here's what I really need you to hear. You are that person to someone or to many people in your life. You are not small or invisible or insignificant. You are making an impact. You are influencing people every single day of your life. Your kids, your friends, your partner, your colleagues, the cashier at the shop, your friends' kids, every single person you come into contact with. Now, you probably have no clue in what way you are influencing them, or that you are even influencing them, just the same way that all the people I just mentioned probably have no clue that they made such a big impact on my life. Now, I'm not asking you to be perfect all the time. No one can be. All I want you to recognize is your immense power to make a positive impact and your capacity to start a ripple effect that will make the world a better place. The way you talk to the waiter is the way your son and daughter will talk to people who serve them. The way you talk to your partner is what your child will accept as normal. The way you act in hard times will show your friend to either give up or to carry it with strength and positivity. The way you treat the delivery guy will influence how they treat the next person that they're delivering to. The kind words you say to a person who made a mistake will make them more comfortable to forgive the next person who wrongs them. Whatever you put on social media will plant a seed in whoever sees it, whether it's good or bad. What you do and how you do it matters, and it can make the world a better or a neutral or a worse place. The choice is yours. Start with small things and go through your day in a way that you would be comfortable for someone else to see, or at least in a way that you won't feel ashamed if you had to look at it. On that note, I once heard of a technique to put a mirror behind a counter in a shop or where you service clients, because people are much less likely to be impolite and impatient if they can see themselves. So live in a way that you are comfortable with who you see in the mirror. This episode is a tribute to everyone who has influenced me in a positive way and who will still influence me and who are influencing me right now. But it is also a tribute to you watching this, because if you're the kind of person who watches these kinds of videos, then it means that you are already good and can become an even greater source of positivity in this world. Now, don't be scared of every step you take now. Just become aware and show up as the person that you would want to show up as if you knew for certain that you were a teacher to others. It's a privilege, my friend, not a burden. In conclusion, all you need is awareness of your power, and that whether you are doing it consciously or unconsciously, you are an influencer. Now that you have that awareness, you can use it to empower yourself, others, and the world. Now, my dear ones, you can go ahead and lighten your spirits with my mishaps that are coming up in the bloopers section. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me again today. If you have any thoughts on this topic, please let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it with anyone you feel who might need to hear this. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want more content. I release a podcast episode every Tuesday and a yoga video every Thursday. I'll see you in the next one. Well, you have never been so wrong, my dear one. So, hey yogis, and not a yoga video. Yeah, before we begin, we'll start. Makes sense? Makes sense. Just going in with something as simple. Dogs barking. It was going so well. Thank you, Milo. A big one. And you are helping to create the direction that the world is going in with something as Where's the button? Now I want you, no, I don't want you, I want to. You can just sit there and listen. She still encouraged me to find my own questions and ask my own answers. And she didn't do it with the thing in mind. Yeah, that's very good. Very eloquent. The way she treated me has had such an influence on my life. Why can't I get the sentence out? It's not that hard. Now, the way she treated me has had such a massive impact, or still, it doesn't want to come out. The way she treated me has shaped the person who I... It's not that hard, it's one sentence. I'm hungry. I wasn't a bad student, but you know, I was very lazy. Yeah, it's changed. Just a disclaimer here, I didn't really put more effort into it in school, but it hasn't. Yeah. I just screwed my own point there. I would probably struggle and probably you know, there's that fear that no, instilled a belief in me, in myself. A belief in me and myself. Is that right? I don't know. Don't think so. Now, if you think, well, here are a few more. Here are a few more. Always came to mind for me. Can you hear my stomach growling? And didn't know what half the tools were supposed to do that I had to use to nothing. And that made acidity of and how he treats them with respect and dignity. Many more people. The new guy or girl in your work. Everyone who has influenced me and that whether you are doing it consciously or unconsciously, like if you like. Please subscribe to my channel and deer in headlights. Thank you so much for watching and thank you.